Hello and welcome to Make Some Noise. This is episode number 32, and we got a very special guest today, my good friend Roy Cathey from the bands The Fifth, Cold Sweat, and you got a new Boston tribute we're going to be talking about. One of the busiest bands men in rock and roll. Every artist has a story to tell. Right, we invite you on to tell your story. You're one of the busiest men I know. So let's, since everybody knows about Cold Sweat with Fifth, we'll talk a little bit about that. But I'm really excited to talk about your band, Don't Look Back, the Boston experience.
I'm telling you, man, this has turned out to be something that has been a lot of fun for me. When I joined the project, these guys have been going for several years before I got involved,
Oh, okay.
and yeah, they've been doing it on the West Coast for several years, and they had a singer that was going through some personal issues, and he said, "Hey, you guys might need to find somebody to fill in some dates for me." Because he wasn't able to travel out of state. He was going through some custody issues or whatnot. And, they started asking around, and Dwayne Miller, who is in Kiel, he is
Sure.
also in the Don't Look Back project. And he started asking around a couple of people. They were playing an event called Sandstock in Virginia Beach, Virginia, playing with Zoso, which is a Led Zeppelin tribute.
Mm-hmm.
It has an amazing drummer named Bevan Davies, who used to be in my old band Gibraltar back in our high
Oh,
school
wow.
days.
Wow.
So, but Bevan's gone on to have an amazing career. He's played with Danzig and Static X, and he's also played shows with frickin' Engelbert Humperdinck. I mean, this guy's like done everything.
Wow.
But at any rate, Dwayne asked Bevan, he goes, "Hey, we're looking for another singer. Do you know anybody that could possibly hit these notes?" And he's like, "Roy Cathey. He's, contact Roy Cathey." And then a couple months later, they run across somebody else and ask the same question, and it's like Roy Cathey.
Roy, I gotta say, Boston has been one of my all-time favorite bands for years, and unfortunately, they don't. They've only released, they released a decent amount of music, but like 8 years between albums and stuff like that, sometimes
Right.
longer. But I think now is more of a ever time for a Boston tribute. I've seen other Boston tributes, but I think more and more are popping up because Boston's really not doing anything these days, especially with the death of Brad Delp and then Tommy DiCarlo about a year and a half ago or so.
Right, right. Who's also from North Carolina, oddly enough.
Yeah,
And the fact that they both passed away on the same day is
interesting.
is
Yeah,
is just really really
Chilean.
bizarre. But the great thing about these guys is we're the only nationally touring Boston tribute band. We play all over the country. We play Canada. There's a couple of other groups that are like doing Boston and Foreigner, or there's like a couple Boston groups that are like kind of
Sure.
regional things. But I mean, I fly out Thursday. I got 3 shows in California. I come back for 2 days. We got 2 shows in Florida. I come back for 3 days, and I fly to upstate New York. We're doing Daryl's house, which is very very cool that we're doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
go ahead. Yeah,
I was gonna
please.
say, what was it like? When you joined the band, like, did you have to rehearse a lot of these songs, like, or did you know most of them?
Well, that's a great question. I'm a metal kid.
Sure.
I grew up listening to Priest and Iron Maiden and
Okay. Yeah.
Queensryche, and I was a metal kid.
Oh,
And even though with Cold Sweat, was a commercial rock band, I'm still like a prodigy,
little guy. Yeah.
a,
Okay.
a student of Rob Halford. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I first started doing this Boston stuff, I did a demo, sent it off to them. They loved it. They said, "Hey, come on out," and I rehearsed with them, and they said, "You got the gig," and I'm like, "Okay, great." So when I started to first sing the stuff, I tried to power metal it. I tried to like sing it like I normally sing, and I'm like seeing stars. I'm like, about to pass out.
Yeah.
I realized that I had to relearn how to sing in a lot of ways. I had to train myself to develop that Brad Delp tone,
Sure.
and I also had to learn basically a different style of singing. And there's a lot more finesse to the Boston stuff. metal and like Cold Sweat. That's just like straight power and energy.
Sure,
And
sure.
Boston is much more of a finesse vocal style, and he had a very strong falsetto chest voice combination that is challenging, and
Yeah.
it made me a better singer. So
Oh,
so
sure.
this
I
Boston,
imagine it would. It's Boston is much more commercial rock.
mhm,
Arena rock, if you will. And Brad Delp was great. I love when they had Michael Sweet. I wish we
mhm,
could have got a record of Michael Sweet. You can imagine what that would have sounded like.
right, right,
Yeah, but Boston is just it's kick out. Probably after learning some of these Boston songs, you probably realize probably as metal as Boston ever got was probably a song like "Walk On" from '95.
yes, yeah, that's about the heaviest that we get. But we stick primarily to the first two classic
Yeah,
Boston records. We do a segment of the show has some stuff from third stage. We do like Amanda and Cool the
yeah,
Engines
yeah.
and We're Ready and Can't You Say.
Because
So
I tell you because of my age, Roy. Like I was a young lad when the first two albums came out, but like in 1986, and that's kind of when I caught on to Boston, if you know, and then I went back and discovered the earlier albums. But I
right.
tell you, that third stage, that's probably actually the most commercial the band ever got, because
Mhm.
the first two albums, as you know, are like a little more hard rock, but third stage, what I loved about that album, I tell you, as commercial as it was, not a single filler song on the album. I mean, from track one to track two, it all kicked ass.
Yeah, well, for me, going back to my original point of being a metal kid, I heard Boston when I was growing up,
Sure, sure.
in my '80s heyday when I was a
Yeah,
young lad full of piss and vinegar.
there you go.
I heard Boston, and I appreciated them. I was like, hey, that's good, but it wasn't like my
Hmm.
go-to music. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So for me, it was like the material had to kind of grow on me. And I mean, dude, I'm not gonna lie. That three-note climb and More Than a Feeling at the end, which is called the money note,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
dude, that shit haunted me. I mean, it was like I would like wake up at night, More Than a Feeling, you know, and I'm like thinking about that three-note climb. I'm walking through the grocery store, and there's fucking, More Than a Feeling's playing in the grocery store. I'm walking through Lowe's Home Improvement. More Than a Feeling is playing it was like following me. But
Wow, wow.
it took me a while, but I'd like to say that I've mastered
It's talking about more than a feeling. I don't know what gets in your head more of a lyrical hook or that guitar riff.
Well, that's the thing about that song, and a lot of that material is it's just so freaking catchy. And their sound, their guitar sound, and their vocal sound, everything was just so unique
Yeah,
and different. And that's another great thing about these guys is they emulate that sound. Our sound, we're not just a bunch of guys up there
sure.
playing Boston songs. They go the distance to make sure that their amps sound the way they do. We make sure that if we can, we have the Wurlitzer organ, or the Hammond B3, and it's like we're very true to the actual sound of Boston, and we try and dress like it. I mean, it's
Oh,
like
sure.
I mean, I've got the beard, and I wear the flowy kind of shirts and stuff like that, and I got Dwayne. He's back there,
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
said,
Maybe
with
it's
the
the
with
beard,
the
but without even trying to, you got that Brad Delp look.
yeah. I didn't even know until I got the gig. I'm like, hey, I do kind of favor him actually a little bit, but bless his heart, Sal, the guitar player. He even like glues on the mustache so he looks like Barry Goudreau. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he puts the wig on and everything. It's like we really try
I
to
dig that because I got to
emulate
tell
it.
you, yeah, I dig that, Roy. Because I'm a big, believe it or not, I'm a big, have been for many years, big fan of the tribute band scene. And what I love about it is just what you're talking about. To me, it's always like I describe it as rock and roll theater, especially the great bands that do what you describe. It's more than guys getting up in their jeans and t-shirts and just
Yeah,
playing Boston songs for a night. You're trying to allow the audience to relive maybe when they saw Boston for the first time or heard them on the radio for the first time or something like that.
Well, I mean, that's something that I realized once I started playing shows and touring with these guys. You know, you and I come from the same era,
Yeah, yeah,
and when we were growing up, music we held our music very close to our hearts.
sure, sure.
Music. You can hear a certain song and you can go, ah, my
I mean,
senior
Roy,
year.
I'm an old school guy. Okay, I still buy my CDs. Look what I got right here.
Right. That's a great CD. That man. There's a story behind that one. That one really hurt. We'll move on to that story later on
Okay, sure,
in
yeah,
the
yeah,
interview. But I found out doing these shows, these songs mean so much to so many people, and I've had so many conversations with people that were like, I saw Boston in like 1977, and
yeah,
I closed my eyes, and it was like Brad Delp was up there. It's like
yeah,
you sound just like them, and that's very flattering. And it's also, you know, I've seen grown men and women weeping in the audience while I'm doing like "Man I'll Never Be" or something like that, or one of those other songs, and they'll come up to me after the show, and it's like, you know, that song was me and my wife's song, and she
yeah, yeah,
passed away.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? And
yeah.
it's like these songs are so close to people, so it's like for me to be involved in something that people hold so dearly in their heart, it makes me want to be even more true
Yeah.
to the delivery of Delp, and really just try and do it as best as I can.
And
So
unfortunately, Tom Scholes in Boston, they don't play out live all that much, but every now and then. So who knows? You guys are out there. You're doing this. That's great for the
and
band.
Tom Schultz is aware of us. The Boston organization is aware of us. We are
Oh,
contacted by them from time to time.
that's great.
Dwayne actually auditioned for Boston when they were about to go out a couple of years ago.
Oh
So he
wow.
auditioned for Boston. We've had one of Boston's touring bass players sit in with us before.
Oh, that
So
that's really
you know
cool.
the
Yeah.
the Boston legal machine has, they are aware of us
And you
because
haven't got
they
a cease and
hold.
desist letter, so that's good, right?
No, but the point I was about to say, they hold that trademark very tight.
Yeah.
And if anybody puts out a logo that is too close to the Boston logo, and that's basically what happened. The guys were playing at Epcot Center down in Florida, and they were advertising it, and it's a Disney thing, so it's big,
Oh, okay.
and they caught wind of it, and the Boston attorneys called, and they said, "Hey, that logo is a little bit too close to the original. You're going to have to change that." And we're like, "Okay, sure, no problem." And they changed the logo, and they were like, "Okay, that'll work. That's great." And Tom gives his approval.
What a great
Well,
story. I mean, not only did you get the thumbs up, but actual Boston tribute band is in touch with the real Boston.
yeah, it's pretty cool. So it's like it's something that I'm very proud of. It's something that I never dreamed that I would be
Sure.
doing. The whole tribute band thing is super hot now, and I'll never forget one of the first shows that I did with these guys. It's like they play really nice, casinos and city and events and theaters and all these beautiful old theaters and stuff like that. But one of the first shows I
Yeah,
did,
yeah, yeah.
I was like in Akron, Ohio, and at some place called Lock Three. It was
Oh
like
wow, wow.
an
Yeah, the
outdoor
tribute band
amphitheater.
sometimes gets a bad rub, but I think bands that are doing like you guys and getting dressed up and everything, that makes it that much more special. And I can tell you from seeing tribute bands myself, yeah, it took me back to seeing the original band, and shook up some special memories I had. But it's just people forget, like, look at the band Steel Panther. Okay, they're a great tribute band in that they do original music, but it's a tribute to the scene. Now the singer
Yeah,
Michael Starr used to go by the
yeah,
name Ralph Sanaz. Okay, in L.A. he got his original start playing in a Van Halen tribute, the Atomic Punks. They're one of the original tribute bands out here.
well,
Um,
here's a little bit of some trivia for you. Ralph
yeah.
actually tried out for the Cold Sweat gig.
Oh, interesting.
He
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
tried.
yeah.
He actually
Now,
tried out for
yeah.
the.
Wow,
His
I didn't
career
know that.
turned out a lot better than mine.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't know that. But the point I was getting ready to make is, he was briefly in L.A. Guns. He left
Oh,
L.A.
okay.
Guns. He left L.A. Guns to go back to the Atomic Punks, if you can believe that. He was making more
Yeah,
money doing the tribute thing. That's my point.
yeah. He was in a, also was it metal? Was it Metal School?
Yeah, yeah,
At
yeah.
first, yeah, it was first called that. When it was, I had some friends that used to see it
Kind
in
of
Vegas.
precursor to Steel
Yeah,
Panther. Yeah,
pre-cap. Yeah, but it was like for me, I didn't realize how big it was until like one of the first shows that I played. I walked out and said, "There's 6,000 people," and I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
"What
yeah,
the hell is going on here?"
yeah, yeah.
But it's a lot of fun. I've been enjoying it.
And Roy, it's probably like no other band you've ever been to because, uh, been in because I mean Boston music, from what I've heard, I mean Tom Scholz being the scientific inventor that he is, there is literally a science to making Boston music, if you know what I mean.
Yes, and these guys, when I first started playing with them, and they explained when they started putting this project together, they worked on the harmony vocals for 3 months before they picked up an
Oh, see,
instrument.
there you go. Yeah,
And it's like for me when I first joined the band, Cold Sweat had great background vocals. Don't get me wrong, okay, but when you have like four people, four other people like
yeah,
singing,
yeah,
you know, five people singing together and they're doing harmonies, multiple harmonies, and Sal's got this octave thing that divides it, and
yeah.
so it's like when they do the background vocals, it's like whoa,
Yeah.
and it's all legit, it's all real, no tracks.
And that's what made those classic Van Halen albums so great. Michael Anthony's background vocal.
Oh man, yes, that high note he has is
Yeah, yeah,
amazing.
yeah. In fact, I can't wait to see. I don't know if you've heard about David Lee Roth and Alex Van Halen getting back together.
I
Um,
saw the interview. I didn't know they were going to get back together, but I
well, I
mean,
mean, they got together some interview. It's gonna pop up on YouTube in a week or so. I can't.
yeah.
I've seen clips. I can't wait to see the full thing.
Well, I mean, David Lee Roth is who made me want to be a rock star,
Yeah, yeah.
straight up. So
I can see that.
I just I can't stand the David Lee Roth hate. You know what I mean? It really kind of pisses me off because it's like, look, we're all getting older. We've all aged.
Yeah,
This guy has just lived an incredible life and has given us all so much joy and so much amazing music. And he was never known as a great singer. He
yeah,
was always known as just an entertainer and just a great frontman. So, you know, his show, and I hate I didn't get a chance to see it. His show just looked like it was fun,
yeah, yeah.
and that's really what music needs now more than anything else. And it's just I hate to see our generation
Me
turn
too.
into the crotchety old people. Get off my lawn! It's like
Yeah,
shut up.
and I got to say one thing Dave really didn't ever get credit for, but I always noticed that I loved his nonsensical lyrics. Half the time I don't know
Oh,
what the hell he was
great.
talking about. Like jump. My backing against a wrecking machine. What the heck is a wrecking machine? But
Man, just great lyricist. A
yeah,
lot more thought went into it than people
yeah,
think.
yeah,
And
yeah,
he was just amazing to me. I mean,
yeah.
in his heyday, nobody could touch Dave and Van Halen.
It's even like I hate to see people attacking Vince Neil, especially in his case because man, the man survived 4 strokes. Okay, it's
Yeah, see, I was on the I used to hate it and it used to be cringe worthy, but when I found out he had some strokes, I cut him some slack and
like
everything.
give him a chance. I mean, it's at this point, it's a comeback story, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If you can go from having 4 strokes, teaching yourself to walk again, I mean, that's a major hurdle right there.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so Roy, you mentioned a few times the band Cold Sweat. You mentioned to me before we did this today that you guys are getting ready to appear at the Monsters of Rock cruise. I think that's next year. So you want to talk at all about that?
Yeah, Cold Sweat sails again. I mean, it's like we love the people that run the Monsters of Rock cruise. We're like one of their little baby bands that they like
Mm-hmm.
to put on the cruise every other year. We're a fan favorite. We're a cult favorite. You know what I mean? The people that saw Cold Sweat or bought that record back in '90,
Yeah,
they still love that record, and it stood the test of time. So the fact that we still get up there and perform and play these events is very special to
yeah,
all
yeah.
of
In
us.
one of our past interviews, you joked with me that since the band has come back, it's almost you guys almost become bigger than what you initially were even in the.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really kind of weird because it was like when we came out, it was at that end of that era, the hair metal era, and we kind of just got lost in the shuffle. But I mean, you put that record on now, and it still stands up. The material is strong, the performances are strong, and I'm just thankful that I still get to.
And with that being said, Roy, the band's still getting that kind of reaction from the fans. Is there any chance of any new Cold Sweat music?
Well, we released a new single, when we did that last Unburied Alive for RFK Media. There's a new track on that. We didn't officially release it on streaming sites and everything. I think that's on the label's plan. They'll probably do that right before the cruise. But I mean, I'll never say never. That last song that we wrote was the first one that we did in the modern way of nobody's in the same room anymore because we're all over the country. It's like it was the first one where we kind of hey, here's the riff together, that and we kind of did it that way. But
kind of testing the waters.
It turned out to be good. It's a good song.
What I dig about the fact that you said you didn't put that song in any of the streaming service, it kind of makes it like a little collector's item.
That's right. I think that was the label's intention and idea. I mean, we're an old school band from a different era, and we're trying to still make our way in a modern music industry that is.
Now you mentioned being a diehard Judas Priest fan. That's one of the.
Oh man.
Now let me ask you: have you ever? I'm sure you have, but have you ever heard the first Judas Priest album, Rock-a-Rolla?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Now, what I love about that, because most Priest fans, I was myself when I heard that the first time I came across it on YouTube, and it comes across as much more of a progressive rock album than a Priest album. And as you probably know, that's because it was originally written with another vocalist in mind, not Halford.
Right. Yeah, the Rock-a-Rolla record is definitely, full of deep cuts. That's not like the traditional Judas Priest that everybody knows and loves. But my first exposure to the Priest was, I had four stepsisters when I was growing up, and it was during the 70s. So there were all these horny boys always around the house, trying to, nail my sisters. So to get in on the good side with the little brother, so he wouldn't bother them while they were making out in the living room, I would get all their leftover albums. They would come over and they would hey, Roy Jr., listen to these records. You can have these. And I was like, oh, okay. So I would sit in the bedroom and listen to records. And this one guy brought a Judas Priest Stained Class.
Oh, wow.
And that's when I was just.
And let me ask you, Roy, as far as Stained Glass, did you hear any of the subliminal messages? Do it?
No. No, but I did hear the high note of Exciter, and I went, "What is this? How does he do that?" So that kind of opened the door.
Yeah. And to think, if you've ever heard Diamonds and Rust, and then you find out it's actually a Joan Baez song.
Yeah. And then once I heard Unleashed in the East and Victim of Changes and all that stuff is that was
it's just
life-changing for me.
You can never go wrong with Priest. In fact, they got a new kind of career-spanning best of album. Only real complaint with it from most fans, it doesn't feature metal gods.
Oh, man.
But it's got all the other hits that you want.
But, man, I mean, I love Rob. He's still doing it. He still sounds great. I mean, he's not crazy with the high notes anymore.
I love when he appeared on, when he did that song with Dolly Parton. I mean, it was so out of left field, but it was cool.
Out of left field. Yeah. But, I'm a big Rob Halford fan, and, I just love the fact that he's still out there. And look, going back to David Lee Roth, you got the Rob Halfords. Man, I'm cheering for my old heroes.
Yeah.
I'm cheering for him, man. I'm not sitting back and going, oh, well, he don't sound like he used to, or oh, hang it up, Dave. It's time to retire. It's like, shut the fuck up, man. Let our heroes do this as long as they can,
Let's see what you can do, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm still going. I'm going to cheer for the guys that are going longer than me.
About the haters,
Yeah.
Yeah. And anything new going on with the Fifth?
Well, right now the Fifth is, I would say that we're on a bit of a hiatus. My
Okay.
bass player Jake is also he's out on tour with a band called Gunshine.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, Jake's in Gunshine. So he's been real busy with those guys. I've been busy with the Boston
Yeah,
thing,
of course, of course.
and we excuse me.
That's all right.
We inadvertently kind of had to put the project on pause, and
Okay.
this will be an exclusive for the show.
Wow.
Here's what happened. That it takes bands a couple of years to start building a momentum,
Sure, sure.
and with our lineup that we had. We were building some major momentum. We
Yeah,
were opening for national acts. We were playing some great shows. We got signed to RFK Media. We got picked to play on the Kiss cruise.
yeah.
Things were it was an upshoot. And we were writing the record, and we had Chris McClernand of Cold Sweat and Saigon
Sure.
Kick. He produced it, and he also pulled some strings, and we got to record at Shinedown's recording studio down
Wow,
in
wow.
Charleston, South Carolina, at Eric Bass's place. So our former guitar player, who just recently got married, he was excuse me.
That's all right. Yeah.
He was just recently got married, and his wife got pregnant,
Oh, okay.
and we were like, hey, look, we won't book any shows. We'll just do some recording and stuff like that, and we'll get the record finished. And then once the record is done, we'll kind of go back to business as usual. So we took about 9.5 months off from doing
Wow.
live shows. We
Yeah.
took 9.5 months off, and we got the record done, and then we finally launched the record. And the week that we released the record, we did the M3 pre-party out in Baltimore area,
Yeah. Yeah.
and big show. So we get together to play our first show in like 9.5 months. The week the record comes out, right? We go,
Right.
we do this show. We sell out of all the CDs that we have.
Wow.
It was an amazing first couple of days, and
Momentum was there, my friend.
the momentum was there. We were riding high.
Yeah.
We come back from the first show that we've done in 9.5 months, and our guitar player goes, I just don't want to do this anymore.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, what? We just released the record, man. It's the week the record has come out. What are you talking about? And he's like, I'm just not feeling it anymore. I'm just a
Oh my
different
God. Thanks a
person
lot,
now.
Yeah.
I'm a different person, after
Wow,
having
wow.
a child. And I'm like, dude,
Thank
we
you.
took 9.5 months off so you can be the daddy,
Yeah.
with your newborn. And it's not like the Fifth was constantly touring. We were basically,
But the momentum was there. I mean, come on.
we had the momentum, we had everything fucking going, and this jackass just decides the week that the record comes out, and after playing our first show that we took 9.5 months off
wow.
for him, he goes, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. So we were just, our record was dead in the water as
Wow.
soon
So,
as it came out.
yeah. So you're on hiatus, so to speak. But I hope that means at least there's a search for a new guitar player, or
Oh well, we've got a new guitar player. We've got a dynamite new guitar player. His name's Reed Rogers. He's out of the Raleigh area,
okay.
and he's already we played the M3 pre-party again,
Great. Okay.
and Reed debuted there, and he did a great job. So me and him are about to start writing some new material. Jake is finishing up the Gunshine tour,
Wow.
and we're eventually going to dust off the beast and put another
I can't wait for
bullet in the
that. When the
chamber.
time's right, you can come back and talk about it
Yeah,
with some of the guys.
absolutely,
Now,
absolutely.
before I let you go, Roy, I see that you're kind of a movie buff like me. I got a pop culture show. Perhaps one day I'll invite you on that. But I just saw the new Spider-Man. I see you're a Hulk fan, so you're going to want to go check out the new Spider-Man because the Hulk
I hear it's amazing. I hear it's really good.
kind of sets it up for the Avengers, which comes out in December.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm a big Marvel guy. I'm a huge Marvel fan, and I'm just, as you can see with my Hulk,
Yeah. That's why
poster
I
back
mentioned
there.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got my Hulk poster, and I've got my Ron Burgundy Anchorman because I firmly believe that Anchorman is the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
I knew my second marriage. I knew my second marriage was doomed when she said she hated Will Ferrell. I was like, what? And some people hate him, some people love him, but I just love that.
Anchorman and Old School, I don't know which I like best, but
yes. I love Will Ferrell. He's goofy. I just got finished in his new series on Netflix. Maybe I'll
invite you on, Roy, the pop culture show, and we could talk about do an episode on Anchorman. I think that would be kind of fun.
I love Anchorman. Every scene is hilarious to me. I'm a huge pop culture fan. I'm also a huge professional wrestling fan. That's another thing.
Oh my God!
I am a big wrestler.
Let me ask you: have you checked out the? Also, it's on your same label as you as this guy named Robbie Vegas, who used to be a wrestler.
Yeah, I've heard about him. I haven't met him yet.
I've interviewed him, but I think that's definitely one guy you'd like to.
I'd love
his music, and he's got a podcast.
I'd like to chat it up with him. But I've done an intro for AEW wrestling for Sabian. Cool. So I also wrote a song for Sting for AEW. So when Sting was doing his retirement tour, they put out 3 songs from each era of Sting's career, and I wrote a song called Neon Warrior. Where
I got to ask, how did you get involved with writing a song for Sting of all people?
Well, oddly enough, through my travels, I got to be friends with a cat in the Richmond, Virginia area, and he was friends with Mikey Ruckus, who is the music director for AEW.
Okay, wow, that's great, yeah.
And we were talking one night, and he goes, man, I need to put you in touch with Mikey because you could probably help him do a song sometime. And I'm like, yeah, I'd love to, So it's like we did the Kip Sabian intro. And that turned out dynamite. And then a couple months later, he contacted me and he goes, "Hey,
oh wow, that's exciting."
Yeah, it's cool stuff, especially being a wrestling fan. So to be able to be put in charge of writing the lyrics for a Sting song, to try and describe that era, the neon when he was wearing the neon pink and all that stuff. I come up with Neon Warrior, and I use like Stinger Splash in the lyrics, and
I love about that. Most people hear about it and they'd be like, "Hey, you're a metal guy. You're going outside your comfort zone." Yeah. But that's what makes it so cool, Well,
for me, I like stretching myself. Yeah. I like pro wrestling, and I'm a rock vocalist, so I was fortunate enough to meet people that was made it for me to be able to merge those two worlds. So
you're living the dream, Roy, right?
I'm living the dream, man. I'm living the dream. So
Roy, as you can tell,
I'm a lucky guy. I'm
still been following you. In fact, the reason I looked you up is I'm like, I was going through some old interviews I'd done. I haven't interviewed Roy. I wonder what he's up to. And then
I'm out here hustling, Jason. Out here hustling.
Yeah, in fact, since the last time we did this, I launched my own site. That's what this is. So
I love it.
Have you come on. So thanks, Roy. We'll have you back on again, and
appreciate you, brother.
Show. This will be going up in late August. I'll let you know once I have a date for it. Okay.
Please do, my friend. It was great being with you again, man. Thank you so much, and all your listeners and
you're
viewers.
Always welcome, Roy. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. We appreciate it. Have a great night, my man. See you.
Anytime.